Every single person in Louisiana at some point in time will be a part of a parade during Mardi Gras. And so for 2 months, that's all people do is go parading. And Chewbacchus is sort of the creative rebellion of all the parades. And it used to go by my place down in the quarter when I lived there with a bunch of buddies, and we were like, this is the coolest thing ever. And so eventually I just decided to join him. It was 2016 when I was introduced to the idea of building an R2-D2 14 feet tall along with Allison and Mike Satterfield. They had already, gotten a grant for this thing and already begun building it when I was invited in to light it. So I came in and, we built this monster. We had a huge crew of all kinds of carpenters and helpers from all over the neighborhood came in to help. And it was a hell of an undertaking, and it made it. We got it all the way to the event. It stood tall. It was one of the tallest items there. And I was super proud of it. I was like, this is great. Like, if I can keep working with these folks, I can't wait for next year's Chewbacchus. She came to me a year ago with this idea, like, we have to do something small, not as big as the R2 unit, but something small that we can do. And I was like, well, let's do a Landspeeder. And she's like, well, I happen to have a Miata. And I'm like, let's put the Landspeeder on top of the Miata. So the early concept was just a simple drawing that, that Allison brought to me. It was an overhead of, the breakdown of, the cross sections and, how much support there was going to be. So it basically looked like a giant rectangle with little squares in it. Once we were done building the frame out of the PVC, we just took Luan and screwed Luan into the whole outside top and bottom and sides. We got a bunch of fiberglass and we seamed it all together, and then we created our radius along the top edge using cardboard and a little bit of foam. And after we were done with that section, we put another section on top of it to sort of clean up and make it even, where we could create a good surface for painting. That's when Allison does her best work. She's good at painting, aging, and just making the thing look like it's been around a while, and all I had to do was come in and light it after her. The one thing we've learned from all-night parades over the years is that you cannot have enough light. So we tried to take that into consideration, and we put 3 big spotlights on the engines. We put some underlighting to give it some separation between the earth and the structure. And then we had a little bit of lighting. I was trying to point at our driver. The night of the parade, we had, all we had was acknowledgement that we had signed up with Chewbacchus and that we were allowable in the parade. But we did not know anything else. We knew we were going to be behind the cute girls in the hamster wheel. So we went and we got there a little about, I don't know, it was like 5 o'clock in the PM. And we found our hamster wheel and we pulled on in and we parked right behind it, and almost like clockwork, an hour later, boom, we were off. It worked out to be pretty awesome. It was slow. We never went over 5 miles an hour, and it was constant people screaming at us and pointing at us and just applauding and just having a great time. Aaron was great. Without Aaron, we would have lost both engines. Just an ultimate film dork. I've always wanted to do anything related to Star Wars. So I'm like, what am I gonna do? Well, the Landspeeder was one of those things. It was like, let's build a Landspeeder and let's do it for Chewbacchus, which is a New Orleans creation unto itself. And it's just parading down a street in a Landspeeder is a childhood dream, period.